Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Rita. I hope you guys are doing well. So today we have got to talk about Kamala Harris. That's right. We're going to talk about her running for office, her suddenly being installed as the front runner for the Democratic nomination for president, and Joe Biden just kind of being pushed to the side, left blowing in the wind. So no more weekend at Bernie's. And they are not even talking about it, and they're just going to pretend like nothing ever happened and try to make us forget that Joe Biden has been the president, air quotes, for the last 4 years. Anyway, so let's start off talking about this whole idea of Kamala Harris and voting for Kamala Harris because, you know, she's a black woman. This is not about that. This is going to be about why, you know, if you want certain policies, if you want to see certain things pass, if you want to see certain things continue, then by all means, go ahead and vote for Kamala Harris. So let's start off with her out of the gate, I'm running for president appearance. It was on RuPaul's drag show.
And register to vote at vote.gov.
Can I get an amen?
Amen. Now on with the show.
And remember, you better vote.
So she's letting you know right off the top where her priorities lie. Now, we have seen a lot of people might say, oh, she really hasn't been able to do much because she's been VP to Joe Biden. But you have to remember, the party is the party, and they do not go left or right of the party. They are in lockstep. So their platform, their policy beliefs are pretty much across the board. They all adhere to the same policies. So with a Kamala Harris presidency, she has already said you are going to get continued open borders. As a matter of fact, she thinks it's a bad idea to criminalize crossing the border.
We're not going to treat people who are undocumented and cross the border as criminals. That's correct. That is correct. There's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work it is doing. And we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
And the problem with that is that these people are not being vetted. They are finding passports and IDs all along the borders because people are simply dumping their old identities, coming into the country and creating brand new identities. Not only that, these people are receiving Social Security. These people are receiving Medicaid benefits. These people are receiving funds for housing. And they are receiving food vouchers, the whole bit. And guess who's paying for it? You are, I am. We're all paying for it. That is the biggest problem. Aside from the criminals here and there that are passing through, the biggest thing is you and I are being forced to pay for these people and their babies and their whole entire extended families if that's who's coming. So when people try to compare to Ellis Island, like, oh, well, we're a country of immigrants, yada, yada, yada. Well, we also didn't pay for those people. But anyway, I don't want to go on a tangent because that's not what this is about. So that's one of the things you will have to look forward to. The other thing you will have to look forward to, like I stated, is Kamala's appearance. Her first appearance out the gate was on RuPaul's show. So this lets you know that she has an allegiance to the Rainbow Mafia, who think it's perfectly fine to perform in front of children, who thinks it's perfectly fine to throw up their tops on the White House lawn. These are her people.
The president and I are very committed to always standing as allies, but as part of this movement.
So a vote for Kamala is a vote for more of that. Kamala did a rally in Atlanta with an auditorium full of, you guessed it, Black women who are more than happy to support her. And what does she have to offer? She had to offer universal health care, which basically means Canadian type health care.
Many people watching at home have health insurance of their employer. Who here would abolish their private health insurance in favor of a government-run plan? Yeah. All right.
If you are not familiar with how it works, it is socialized healthcare. It means that it is quote unquote free, meaning you and I, again, taxpayers, pay for everybody's healthcare. And if your situation is not as dire as they think it might be, then you will get on a waiting list.
It is being called a growing crisis. Canada is critically low on family physicians, and millions are turning to walk-in clinics. But we now know wait times are skyrocketing across the country, and doctors tell us relying on walk-ins isn't a sustainable solution.
We're in a bad situation, and I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel.
We're told it could be the key to relieving a healthcare system under immense pressure.
My best friend is actually Canadian, and she has had, and her whole family have had very dire, awful, horrible experiences with the Canadian healthcare system. And unless you are bleeding out, good luck with that. So that's what Kamala Harris wants for this country as well. Now, she also wants to release felons from prison. That's right. She doesn't believe in the prison industrial complex. So she thinks that, we can just start letting people out.
I absolutely am without any question committed to reducing the prison population. I'm not going to commit to a specific number because I want to make sure I can meet it. But I am committed to drastically reducing our prison population.
The problem with that, what is there's a huge problem with that. Obviously, these people are in there for a reason. So the idea that you would just let them into the general public, to me, sounds like you are trying to terrorize the rest of us law-abiding citizens. But that's not enough for her. She wants to just let them out. She doesn't have a plan B. I can almost see if she says something to the effect of, we are going to let these people out, but we are going to put them in a separate facility that would offer, skill building classes or something like that for the non-violent offenders, something like what Nayib Bukele is doing down in El Salvador for all non-violent offenders. He is putting them into different types of work programs, and they are helping rebuild the culture that they help, the country that they helped tear down. To me, okay, that could be a conversation, but she's not even talking about that. She's just flat out talking about letting people out. Now, again, to me, sounds like you're trying to terrorize the rest of us. And what makes it sound even more like you're trying to terrorize the rest of us with hardened criminals that you're going to just willy-nilly let out of jail is the fact that she wants to have red flag laws. Now, if you are a firearms enthusiast or firearms owners, then you already know what this means, more than likely. But for the people who don't know what this means, red flag laws basically means, in a nutshell, some person, let's say your neighbor who doesn't like you very much, could lie and say that they saw you with a weapon, pointing a weapon out the window, and the police can come and confiscate your firearms without even a fair trial, without question. So those are red flag laws. So she wants to ban things like AR-15s, which no, it is not a machine gun. This is not Rambo. It is not like Terminator or something like that. It is not that kind of firearm, even though they try to scare people into thinking that's what it is. But at any rate, it basically, if you had a home invasion situation where 7 guys were trying to kick in your door, you might have a fighting chance. They want to ban those firearms. They don't want you to be able to protect yourself. The Democrats are the party of pushing infanticide on specifically on all young women, but in particular Black women. They love to tell you about your reproductive rights.
We who believe in reproductive freedom will stop Donald Trump's extreme abortion bans, and when Congress passes a law to restore reproductive freedoms, as President of the United States, I will sign it into law.
Which is just another word for abortion. It doesn't mean anything else. They are not talking about ovarian cancer. They are not talking about endometriosis and helping you clear that up, because these places that perform these procedures, infanticide procedures, they cannot help you in any of those areas. So when they talk about reproductive health, they are only talking about, you know what? Why? Well, because obviously they don't want you to carry on with your lineage. This is the party that is not saying we want you to have more babies. No, that would be the Republican Party. This party here is saying they want you to stop having kids. You can look online. There are tons of articles written by super progressives that are on the left that will tell you why it's a great idea for you to never have a child or stop having children altogether, because they are not the party of pro-life and pro-giving birth and pro-health. They are the people who tell you you should eat bug burgers because, you know, beef is bad for you, chicken is bad for you, and that you should eat lab-grown meat because, you know, why not? We're trying to save the planet. Who cares about you? This is the Democrat Party. Here's another thing that Democrats love. They love putting men in women's spaces.
Special report on what's taking place inside California's female prisons. In September 2020, Governor Gavin Newsom signed Senate Bill 132 into law, requiring prisons to house inmates based on their chosen gender identity. Now, biological men are sharing prison cells with terrified women, and one woman is reportedly pregnant.
This is the party that promotes gender neutrality, that promotes gender affirming care, which is, again, another code word for transitioning children and adults, but children as well, into, you know, the other. It's a sex change operation is what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and do newspeak. It's a sex change operation. They are the party, including Kamala Harris.
We know that we have the Equality Act that we need to get passed. We know the issue in terms of the experiences our transgender youth are having around the country.
That have no problem putting children on puberty blockers. There are laws in place. California just passed a law, in fact, saying that parents don't even have a right. Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, signed into law that parents don't have a right to push back or to know if their kids are socially transitioning, meaning if they are asking the teachers to call them him instead of her, or starting to dress different, socially transitioning, changing their names, then the parents don't have a right to know.
I was there campaigning against a ballot measure that would have required young women to notify their parents before getting an abortion. Well, when you were 16, did you want to speak with your parents about your sexuality?
This is the face of the Democrat Party. People need to get past the race thing and figure out, how is voting in somebody who it looks like you or whatever you think looks like you, how is that going to benefit you? A better question is, how has it benefited you thus far? We need to get past this race stuff and get back to caring about what people value. Democrats, including Kamala Harris, are radical. They are radical. And when I say radical, I mean, again, we can go over all these things, but they don't care about men in women's sports, in MMA, beating the living daylights out of women. Doesn't dawn on them that these are men who have problems, who fetishize what it means to choke a woman out, and they are more than happy to put on a wig and some makeup to call themselves a woman so they can get out there in front of all the world to act out their fantasies. And Democrats are perfectly fine with that. So, without even talking about the economy, without even talking about the Green New Deal and how they want to force all of us to buy electric vehicles because, you know, Kamala Harris doesn't believe in oil, which is natural, comes from the earth.
I am offering a Green New Deal that has been described as one of the most aggressive and progressive.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes.
None of this stuff actually works. All this Green New Deal stuff where they're talking about getting rid of fossil fuels. Well, that means you won't be able to drive your car. That means you're going to have to swap out your car for an electric vehicle. Are you prepared to pay, for a Tesla? I'm not. I'm just asking. Are you guys prepared to pay for a Tesla? Because that's where we are with a Kamala Harris type of presidency, saying that she's not going to drill for oil. She's going to ban all drilling. Democrats are bad for humanity.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
Their policies are anti-life, anti-human. Please do not get caught up in the shuck and jive show that is Kamala Harris trying to win you with the sister girl kind of persona. Think about how her plans would affect your day-to-day life. When she says, I'm going to take on big pharma, I'm going to take on corporate landlords, she does just not just talking about corporate landlords. She's talking about anybody who owns property. And if you have a tenant in there, you will not be able to evict them if they decide that they're not going to pay their rent. A lot of states or cities are currently dealing with this right now. She's not just like when they said we're going to charge the 1%, we're going to tax the 1% and the 1%, and then they said, oh, nobody who makes over $1 million a year, is going to be affected. And then they went down, nobody over $400,000 a year, and now they're down to anybody who has had anything more than $600 in their Venmo account. We want to know about it. We want to send them a tax form. So you cannot trust what these people say. You cannot trust what she says. She is a liar. Nobody is perfect, but these Democrats, forget all of this shucking and jiving and pandering and Reverend Raphael Warnock standing up talking about being pro women's reproductive rights, which basically just means abortion. But, he's a reverend, and I don't know how he squares that up with the Bible, but whatever. This party, they are wicked, wicked, wicked. They are not for you. They're not for your lineage. They wish you would end it. They are not for the environment. They are the biggest polluters of the environment. They are not charitable. They only pretend to be, so they can pull on your heartstrings, pull a fast one, get your vote, and like they always do, disappear right off in the sunset with all of our tax money. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this Kamala Harris race. Are you voting for Kamala Harris or any other Democrats? That's the other thing. Please do not sleep on your local elections. This is where all of the moving and shaking is happening as well. While we're focused on the federal elections, please do not sleep on your city council, your mayors, if you're in the Midwest, your alder people. They actually implement the crazy policies. They are working in tandem with the federal government, and these are in small local government. This is where these policies actually get feet and start moving and doing things in your neighborhood. All right. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Until next time, ciao. God bless.